Okay, so hi. Um, we are. This is gonna respond. EJ finally went ahead and put up his thoughts on Mark Henry in response to my challenge. So I just wanted to quickly address that. First of all, just very happy. I got what I wanted to get out of this, which was I wanted to get EJ's Mark Henry rant. So we got that. It was awesome. Thank you for that, sir. And your points are pretty indisputable in most ways. There's not much I can say to argue that. I mean, you know, um, what I will say, first of all, um, is that there's such a thing as being realistic, um, and if you know that they're going to use him, because as we've said before, he's a company guy. He's they like to see him. He's marketable. They like what he does. Apparently, so they're going to use him. Since they're going to use him, I'm happy that he's not making a huge mess of it and fucking it up and fucking people up, um, as the case may be. Um, so there's such a thing as looking at it from a realistic point of view and saying, okay, they're going to use Mark Henry for something. At least they're making it interesting and they're putting him into a program that he can actually work believably and decently. So there's that. Aside from that, you're absolutely right. That role, the role of monster heel who destroys people is not by any means something that has been limited to Mark Henry or something that only Mark Henry can do. Um, and there are a lot of people who can and have done it better. I think Mark Henry probably beats out Great Khali in that regard. Um, and I think Vader. I don't know, maybe, but honestly, for the most part, that's it. Mark Henry does not have a lot of range. I'm glad they found something he can do, and it's entertaining, and it's not horrific to watch. I do remember when he hurt Batista, and that was pretty. you know, um, he's. You would think that the man who's been wrestling as long as he has, would be would be better when it comes to protecting his opponents, and I think he probably has been better. I haven't heard about him injuring anyone recently, but that having been said, um, I completely agree as far as the fact that he has a job in the WWE when there are other people who, I mean, hell, I know that somebody like John Laurinaitis would never go for this because he's obsessed with the big man mentality, but shit, hire Roderick Strong. Put Roderick Strong in that role. Put him in the role of monster badass who murders people. He's not a huge guy, but he can play that part really well, as has been demonstrated. And he doesn't have the best mic skills, but neither does Henry. So fuck it. Put Roderick Strong in that role. I mean, put Abyss does a better job in that role, much better job in that role. Hell, you've already got people on the roster. And Kane does it. Kane's hurt, but um, so yes, there are people who are more deserving right now of a spot in WWE, and a main event spot, and that's the other thing. Is that you probably don't know this yet because I haven't told EJ this yet. I just found out a few minutes ago, and I'm sure he'll find out soon enough. But um, the SmackDown taping tonight featured a 20-man battle royal to determine the number one contender to Randy Orton's World Championship. ah, and that wasn't a response to that necessarily, although that was probably worthy. Um, Number one contenders battle royal, 20 men, and the winner was Mark Henry. So Mark Henry is now going to contend for the championship. He has been officially given a main event level spot. That, for the record, I don't agree with at all. I don't think Mark Henry needs to be anywhere near the main event. Frankly, I'm not terribly happy that he went over at SummerSlam. I'm glad that the spot was really cool with him putting Sheamus through the wall. But I think it would have been a lot better. He destroys Big Show, he destroys Kane, he destroys Kozlov, he nearly destroys Johnny Curtis, and this whole time you've got this feud with Sheamus building. I don't really understand why you wouldn't put Sheamus over, um, because he's the one who needs to be built in this feud. So, don't. The only way I would have agreed with that decision is if um, the feud was going to continue, which I honestly thought it was because Sheamus didn't exactly lose cleanly. I mean, he lost cleanly, but he lost by countout, which is pretty much a non-finish. So I expected the feud to continue, but now it looks like they're going to push Henry into a title feud with Orton, which, in my opinion, is definitely the wrong way to go. Sorry, I'm just tired. Long day. Uh, in conclusion, to wrap this up, I understand why EJ and others are not entertained by Mark Henry. Usually, I'm not entertained by Mark Henry. Lately, I have been, but again, that's mostly just a matter of at least he's not fucking up, and he at this point he has lowered expectations to such a degree that, and and like EJ said, and I can completely with him on this. I totally respect Mark Henry as a human being, as a person, and as a worker, completely, because he is one. I mean, the make no mistake, the man did, you know, go to the Olympics and win a strongman contest. I think in like '92. Um, but so mad respect for him as a person and as a worker. Um, but his in-ring work and his angles. I mean, who will ever forget sexual chocolate? Um, all that stuff, and Mae Young. All that stuff has set his bar so low that the things he's doing now, I think, seem better by comparison. I wouldn't be if Kane, for example, were doing what Mark Henry is doing now. I probably wouldn't be as excited about it because Kane has done better work. Henry really hasn't. So, um, yeah, I think that you know what my opinion boils down to is he's not terribly entertaining. He doesn't have terribly good matches, um, and he probably should retire, um, and make way for somebody more deserving and somebody younger. Uh, but he hasn't done that. They like him. They're going to use him, and as long as they're going to use him, um, at least until recently, he was being booked well. Now with this thing in the main event, let's lay this little issue to rest and let's all go back to hating Mark Henry, um, because he certainly doesn't deserve a championship match. And good God, if he wins the title, all I have to say is we'll need another video from EJ if Mark Henry wins the title. I'll definitely want to see the reaction to that, sir. Um, so in the same way I would have liked to see it do, or I did see the reaction to the possibility of Test winning the title. Anyway, that's a story for another time. So yeah, all right, I'll be back soon with more thoughts on SummerSlam and Raw. So, but not now.